Perhaps the moon knows the secret of the new sound.
He's so bright and pull on the surfaces. He's so bright and he walking on my face. He's so bright and
Open your mind. Let us begin our quest to find the new sound.
I've got new. Nicey, I've got thrice.
Look at the shine and everything I need.
I've got new. Nicey,
Okay, let's have fun.
Nicey, I've got new. Nicey, I've got new.
Look at the shine and
Nicey, I've got new. Nicey, I've got new.
look at the shine.
he's so bright and bright, pull on the surfaces. He's so bright and he walking on my face. He's so bright and bright, pull on the surface, pull on this. He's so bright and he walking on my face. Better bet him.
Nicey, I've got new. Nicey, I've got new.
Look at the shine and
Nicey, I've got new. Nicey, I've got new.
Sound.
you must choose. Bimbo, bimbo. My name is Mr. Susan. You must choose, and now it is time for you to do the choosing. I am Mr. Dean.
I've got new.
You must choose.
I've got thrice.
Look at the shine. I am Mr. Dean.
I've got new.
You must choose.
I've got thrice.
Look at the shine.
Trapped in cabinets.
Can I get out? Will it get out? Cause he will.
You like a single time, Vince, yeah. Single time,
Better bet him.
you like a single time.
He walking on my face.
Everything I need here. You like a single time, Vince, yeah. Single time,
Better bet him.
you like a single time.
He walking on my face.
I did a rhyme.
Better bet him.
Nicey, I've got new. Nicey,
You better
I've got thrice.
look at the shine.
Nicey, I've got new. Nicey, I've got new. I've got new. Nicey, I've got new.
Well, hello everyone. Sorry for the delay, of course, because tech stuff, but it's all right. We're here. Oh, I gotta give me 1 second. There we go. All right. Well, welcome everyone to another DaraChat. My name is Daramouthe, or Dara for short, because some people like to mispronounce my name, and I gotta laugh at them once in a while. But anyway, I get to have on the lovely Venkman's girl. How are you, good lady?
Oh, I'm doing okay tonight. Yourself?
Dealing with everything in between. No, it's going all right. It's just one of those days where life happens and you get swatted in the face and you gotta pick yourself up and all the other stuff. So, but yeah, it's one of those days. But I'm here. You're here. That's what matters at the end of the day. So, but thank you for coming on. It's gonna be. I always like having new different people on. So thank you for that.
It's no problem.
Have you? I mean, have you ever been invited on a show before?
Occasionally.
Oh, really? Oh, what other ones have you been on then?
I was on the Cotton Council. Well, not the Cotton Council, but the Tuck and Roll show for
Oh,
a couple of rounds.
mm-hmm.
I've been on Blaine's show.
Ooh,
He does like anime and everything.
mm-hmm.
He's on hiatus right now.
Right.
I've also popped into Words of Paradise.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, I've been on his show before too. Leon's a pretty cool guy, no doubt about that. Although it's been, I think it was his countercast, I think is what it's called, that I was on. I wasn't on any of the other stuff he has. it is what it is. But no, that's pretty awesome that you've. So it's not like your. So you can say it's not your first rodeo. That's for sure.
No, I've also popped on occasionally with Brandon, the anime guy.
Oh yeah, I've had him on too. He's a pretty cool dude. He I can't remember when he came on, but I met Brandon through. Oh, he had a Clifton. Clifton is Clifton 3D. He went on with. They both kind of do a show together, I think. Um, I can't remember what it's called, but they do anime streams. I don't know if you know all his
Yeah,
shows. Yeah,
Anime 101
yeah,
and Anime Chat. So he does a lot of different. He does like those two, and some of them he has like a guest panel or just a guest.
yeah. No, and when I had him on, it was pretty nice to have him on because, of course, I before the show began, I actually got to see what he looks like. So, but but yeah, no, it was pretty cool to have him on, just to talk about whatever because he's really anime and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I've had Leon on, like I said, and I've had of course Brandon on as well. So it's nice being able to get those type of people on, um, because I mean I do this thing. It's not just creators too. I've had people on who don't create. Um, I've had a lot of people who are just friends of someone. Like there's a person I've had on named Tomby. He There's a bunch of people that surround him, and there are some who are creators, and there's some who aren't. And one of them's name is Abe, and I've had Abe on a few times, even though he even though he can't. He's he's not he's not asking to come back, but he's asking to come back. I don't know what best way. He's just like I'm just like I get it, Abe. You want to come back, but it's like my whole month is full. So what you want to do about that? But it is what it is. I just enjoy getting to talk to a whole bunch of different people, regardless, because there's always something to um, it's a perspective thing, right? You have a different perspective, I have a different perspective, all that good stuff. So, but I did want to ask about the username. Where did that come from exactly?
Well, years ago, I was in college and I stumbled upon one of the message boards
Mhm,
and I joined it, but I didn't like the name that I used.
mhm,
So, at first it was like a fairly long name, and then I was like, well, I don't like it. So then I shortened it, but used the same letters. And then I was like, well, I'm still not satisfied with it.
mhm.
And I am a Venkman fangirl, so
Oh.
I'm just gonna roll with that.
Mhm,
And so after that, I was since known on the message board at the time, the Ghostbusters message board,
mhm,
as Venkman's girl.
mhm.
And so when they went from one format, from the bulletin board format to the other one,
Yeah.
I migrated over there and used the same name.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Now, does that translate you being a Bill Murray fan or just Venkman?
Both.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, Venkman is sort of Bill Murray in some degree, his personality or whatnot. Because yeah, Bill Murray just has this like weird personality where you like that he's there, but he's really I don't know. I've heard those stories of like him being on movies and sometimes he just doesn't want to be or whatever, or he shows up wherever he wants and then just disappears like a wind into the darkness. But no, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I was always wondering about that because I mean, it had the Ghostbuster symbol, which it looks like your PFP on Twitter X uses the looks like the animation one, the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering because it kind of looked like that. Although I've never I wouldn't say I've never watched the animation. I've probably maybe watched an episode or two, but it wasn't a big ordeal for me when I was a kid, that sort of thing. Because that's like 80s cartoons right there. So,
Yeah, it's from one of the transition breaks, like before they have the commercial or when they're coming back from the commercial and the Ghost used to just they'd animate him doing stuff.
Mm.
So like there's one where he's sawing the no sign,
Yeah.
and I just chose that particular one, where he's just like with his head on his chin, well, his chin on his hand and everything. So I was like, well, I'll just go with that.
Mm.
And that was years after just being kind of lazy about changing the picture from the one I had before. And I
Mm.
think the one I had before was like the one that someone made for saying that like no 2016 one.
Mm.
And I had that one for a long time. So
Yeah.
I was going to change it, and then I was like, I don't feel like it. So then it stayed, and then someone complained about it. So I was like, well, if this person is going to complain about it, I might as well just keep it. So
Yeah. There you go.
I, so it was on the other logo for years until I finally decided, well, I'm going to change it now.
Yeah. Well, that's just one of those things. Just like, because for me, I've had my PFP about the same for quite some time, although it was kind of different at the beginning because I really didn't do streaming at the beginning of all this stuff. It was mostly like using I was using StreamYards at the time, and it was using their like recording video sort of feature. And I just did that, recorded videos of whatever, talking about whatever, and then I would just post them on both Rumble and YouTube, and go from there. And then once I was able to stream, I was like, all right, well, let's see where this goes. So to say I'm a professional is far from actuality. So, but I enjoy it nonetheless in doing this. But yeah, no, that's pretty awesome uh, on that regard. Um, but have you watched the latest Ghostbuster movies? I think it was like Afterlife, and then it was that what was the one with the ice?
Frozen Empire.
Frozen Empire. That's right. Did you go and see those?
Well, I didn't see them in the theater, but I did see one as a watch along, and then I saw the other. I think it was on one of the platforms.
Mm. Oh, okay. So like Netflix or whatever.
No, actually, I watched it free. So
Oh, okay. Now we're getting in some real territory there. Ooh, goodness. Um, no, that's understandable. But yeah, I went to actually go watch them in the theaters, and the Afterlife was all right. I, it's sort of like he was a coming back and all that sort of stuff, and obviously, um, Harold Ramis wasn't going to be there because he had passed on. Um, but regardless, it was nice that they kind of added his little thing in there. And this movie's what, like five, six, 7 years old? I don't know. It's pretty old now. But then I went to go see Frozen Empire 2 in theaters, and I was like, eh, eh, maybe. So I'm not, I'm not real too finicky on it. I enjoyed going to watch the scene, but it wasn't like it was more like I'd go back and see it if it was in a dollar theater sort of thing, if that makes sense. Um, but
yeah,
but um, but yeah, no, it's been funny because you are quite a cheerleader out there for many different people. And I know another person who's like that too, Sonia. Sonia Lisette. She's very lovely, and she's a very big cheerleader for other content creators. Even though she does create content herself, she's more of cheerleading on other content creators and whatnot. And I mean, do you just do that because it's something you want to, or you just like supporting those individual channels?
well, it's a little of both. Um I stumbled upon these creators, and they were making interesting content,
Mm,
and it was like at an unfortunate time of my life.
right.
And here these people are, they're doing this stuff and it's entertaining, and it's getting me away a little bit from all this other stuff that's going on.
Right.
So then it's like, well, um, um, I don't have that. I didn't, when I first started, have that many people
Hmm.
um, following me, and it wasn't really a focus.
Right.
So it's like just kind of help get the word out that these people are entertaining and they're dropping thoughts on stuff and they're giving
Yeah.
you things to think about.
Hmm.
And that's, and, just having things to enjoy. Like, I stumbled onto the puppet show with Snow Dove, so
Wow.
I like just sending that out, um, and watching Brandon talk about anime
Hmm.
and sending that out. So anything that's a little bit of fun,
Hmm.
minus it doesn't matter to me what everyone's politics are. Like
Right.
some people have been making a huge big deal out of it.
Right.
It's I don't care who it is they voted for.
Hmm.
They're providing a distraction, some entertainment, some knowledge,
Hmm.
and that's what I'm looking for. And maybe there's other people that might be looking for it but not finding it.
Right. Yeah, because I know that YouTube, for some part of it, they like to shadow ban people or whatever. And Rumble's really is not great on content discovery right now. But no, that's pretty awesome because one, it shows support, but it also helps in getting out those different types of people that may not have been heard of, like you said, and that's a pretty awesome thing to do because um, I know being in this thing, pretty much anyone who creates wants to be heard. That's just the gist of it. Lots of people want to be seen and all this stuff. It comes with the ordeal. But to have that little help along the way can mean a lot to different creators, and to see you kind of do that for a lot of different creators has been interesting to watch. Because again, it just reminds me of Sonia, who also does sort of the similar thing. And she's a Latina, so she throws a little flair into it. She can get spicy sometimes, though, so you gotta be careful with that one. But no, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, in doing this thing, I know uh, that my thing is not um, though. In what I do, apologies, in what I do, that it's like big or whatever, but it's mostly just because, like I said earlier, I like getting to talk to people across the way. Um, and it's not always an easy thing because obviously there are a lot of people out there who um, probably never get asked to be on a show, right? Because usually, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but content creators usually ask on other content creators. To ask someone who's a follower or someone who creates no content at all is just almost a weird thing at times. And I'm not saying it's not done to some degree, but it's usually, I've heard some, like, they do it for like a membership stream or something like that, or whatever. But I just know that having conversations along the way with people, regardless of status, whatever, can provide a lot of benefit. Because I mean, who wouldn't like the opportunity to just chat about whatever, creator or not? Because I know there's small people who consider themselves small uh, would like to feel that too. But I mean, it's always a hit or miss sometimes because I've had people on who are very water from stone sort of thing. But that's okay because I can carry a show, I can carry a tune, just not always well. You don't want to hear me sing on this. Oh my goodness! But no, that's again getting to have people. Oops, getting to have people like yourself, and getting to have people like Brandon. It all just culminates in this thing of, conversation wise. Like, I know there's some creators, they're more worried about their metrics or whatever. And believe me, I was once a point kind of always looking at my numbers, but I just enjoy doing this thing. It really, I already have a full time job. This is really not a big time benefactor for me, but it is a it is a benefit in another way, if that makes sense. Because uh, there's a lot of opportunity getting to talk with someone, uh, just about whatever, and I found that a lot of people sometimes don't have that, which is kind of sad in that nature. Um, I mean, for you, you've been on other shows, like you said, and so not your first rodeo, but I'm sure it's always an interesting factor when, I mean, have the other shows you've been on been like more like panel shows, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always a little dicey about panel shows because you have a lot of people on and they end up not being able to be heard at all. You have a lot of people talking and none are listening, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But so you like Ghostbuster movies and you like different aspects of different content creators. Um, what are some other things you uh, like to do per se of, I don't know, maybe an activity of sort, or is it just in watching other content creators and the entertainment they give?
Well, I have uh, very many hobbies.
Oh,
So, I collect toys and just whatever strikes my fancy. And largely it was Cabbage Patch Kids.
oh,
I'd also had acquired a bunch of most of the Strawberry Shortcake dolls. So it's a
oh,
lot of 80s stuff. Had
nice.
My Little Pony. I was I had actually got my hands on one of the larger Ghostbuster figures. I
Ooh,
actually landed a Pete, but it wasn't the one that talked. So it's like, oh well, I can't hear Lorenzo music, but
mm,
at least I got a Pete.
nice.
And so that's just like a little small. I got some Care Bears, so it's like largely 80s stuff,
Yeah.
and whatever comes along.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've also kind of did some unboxing videos for a couple of these little small dolls, the um, LOLs,
Mm-hmm.
and because my niece had them, and they're little small dolls, and I like the little mini dolls, the
Mm.
pocket dolls, stuff like that.
Right.
And the other dolls that they're not making anymore, the Na 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 dolls,
Yeah.
I was making the video for one, and I open it up, and it's like, ooh, it smells like Halloween costume. But like if you were around in the late 70s, early 80s, we
Right.
had these, I think there were vinyl costumes or something,
Right.
and your parents would buy you one for Halloween, and
Mm.
as soon as you opened the box, it's like, whoo,
Yeah.
what is that?
Oh man, I can imagine that, but that's, ooh man. Whoo. She's Louise. But no, that's pretty awesome because I have a sibling who was very big, more of the newer strawberry, well, not newer, but a while ago strawberry shortcake, because I know there's an older version or whatnot. Um, but I mean, I remember Care Bears a little bit, and I know Cabbage Patch Dolls when they were a thing. They were, oh, whew, man, people would trample over each other just to get them.
Yeah, so I didn't get mine until after that. 'Cause my mom was like, "Oh, people were fighting over the things," and uh, I don't think my mom wanted to bother with that. So
Mm-mm.
we got ours, like I think a couple of years later, or the next year, or something like that.
Yeah, because I remember, what was it? I saw it was on YouTube. I saw a movie like it's about the past or whatever, and they were showing like clips of when Black Friday came around because either it was a Christmas or Black Friday, one of the two, and this is before these are before the days of Amazon and stuff. Like right now, people more or not, people buy their stuff online instead of going into the store. So you're gonna have an easier time getting into a store than anything else. In fact, then it wasn't like that at all. You had people banging at the door to open up to get in. And I remember it was even in the 90s where people would still line up line up around a building at the door just to get in, and once they opened the door, they were just right in there, and I'm just like, "Holy cow." The people got ridiculous. It's insane that how much of a little doll, Cabbage Patch doll, drove people insane enough to trample over each other, and people got hurt from that. People really got hurt
Yeah.
from that. It's like for some I think it's funny, and it is kind of because we can look back and laugh, but I mean at the day there were people who got trampled, and I imagine some probably ended up going to the hospital because they were just stampeded by a bunch of human beings and probably broke something. It's just I'm glad we're kind of past that.
Yeah, not to mention all the fighting. There's like people breaking into literal fist fights.
Oh my goodness. Seeing those videos now, I'm grateful for that for Amazon because right now you can just order it and wait for it, have it delivered to your door. Rather back in the day where you would literally almost choke somebody out for a toy. That's how bad it got. They wanted they wanted WWE. All they had to do was go to the stores and they'd have it. But yeah, the Cabbage Patch Babies were a big thing. I think that was like late 80s, wasn't it? The Cabbage Patch dolls.
I think it was probably a little bit in between. I think the first ones, if I remember right, were probably about 82 or 83, somewhere around there.
Mm,
And then I think the one that I got was I think either 85 or 86.
hmm. So it's about
But
mid later 80s.
yeah,
Mm,
and I was in the community for a while too, so we did like a lot of exchange of information and
mm.
how to take care of and everything. So
Wow.
it's interesting. So there's a lot of communities that you can get into with toy collecting, but it's also a matter of getting along with people and how you interact with them
Yeah.
for for all these communities that you can get into.
Hmm. Yeah, cause
So
yeah, no, cause I imagine with a lot of different toy collectors of certain eras, you have those communities out there. I'm not much of a toy collector. I'm you know, more of a bit of a rock collector, really. But sometimes I get a good one, sometimes I don't. It is what it is. But um, but no, that's pretty awesome because I know that some people collect those stuff and they hold on to them for ages, and then they like make thousands of dollars on it, depending on just because they accumulate that time sort of thing, that history, and it's always fun to learn. I mean, because it reminds me of when Beanie Babies were a thing. Like those were huge back in the 90s until they weren't, and then they became worthless. Oh man, that was a time and a half when Beanie Babies was sort of the big thing, and then years later it's like Beanie Babies who? Oh goodness sake. But yeah, the 80s and 90s were certainly a different time for holiday stuff like Christmas and Black Friday's not a holiday. It's just more of a day of after Thanksgiving. But that's the name people came up with. So having those two sort of things, Christmas and Black Friday, to kind of go back and look how we were, and now to kind of look around us, it's sort of like meh. We've changed a bit. We've gotten a little more lazy, but but
Yeah.
so you're a toy collector, but you also have other uh, other the other interests as well. And so, do you like doing beyond the toy collection? Do you like doing stuff of like I don't know, just still more collection, or like a what would be a good one? Maybe a more physical attribute, like I don't know. Some people do different sports as a hobby. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Um,
Well, to be honest, I kind of suck at sports.
what?
So I always say if somebody is chasing me to kill me, I might as well just give up because I can't run.
Oh goodness, almost reminds me of that saying. You don't have to with the bear thing, right? You don't have to run faster than the bear. You just have to run faster than the person next to you with the bear. But I'm not so great in sports either, so I'm right there with you.
I do enjoy reading, so I'm an avid reader.
Oh,
When I pick up a book, I don't put it down until either I fall asleep or I finished it.
mm-hmm,
So I'm the type that after I got my library card, I would go and check out as many books as
mm-hmm.
I could, as many as I could carry too. So,
Wow.
and then I'd go home and I'd sit down and I'd read as many as I felt like it.
Mm-hmm,
And then uh, all the ones that I finished, I would take back and check out somewhere while I still have a pile left to read.
mm-hmm,
So, um, when I was a kid,
mm-hmm,
I think probably about 5 or 6, or maybe 7,
mm-hmm.
because it would have to be one of those times where my mom was like, uh, she's kind of very protective of us when we were small.
Right,
So it would be a while before we'd be able to walk by ourselves from home to school.
right.
So at the time, the library was on the way home.
Mm-hmm,
So after I got my card, I would drop by the library on the way home and get like a bunch of books if I made it back home.
right.
If I didn't make it back home and I was still at the library, my mom would show up.
Yeah, and then pick you guys up from the library with all your books.
Yeah.
Uh, it sort of reminds me of that scene from Matilda, where she goes to the library and she just devours all the books she can. But I mean, what was the last book you read?
Let's see. Oh my goodness. I don't really remember. I think um I know I had at one point checked out a book of houses that were like from kids,
Oh,
and I also checked out a book about one of the things that I like reading about is like true ghost stories or true hauntings and stuff like that.
ooh, nice,
So yeah.
nice. Yeah, I not my unfortunately not my cup of tea, but I do know that like there's states and cities have their own kind of ghost story books that they sell for tourists or whatever. Um, but I've talked to a few other people who are sort of into the supernatural sort of ordeal. And but what kind of drew you to wanting to read a book about ghosts and stuff?
I have no idea. I think maybe it might have been that one time I was rummaging in my late aunt's attic
Hmm.
and I picked up this book and I think it was by Hans Holzer,
Hmm.
and it had a bunch of accounts of hauntings in there.
Hmm.
So it had the story of Borley Rectory and had some pictures in there, and it had the story about LP Summer. So I just read all that, and I guess I was just interested from then on.
The Holzer, right?
Yeah,
Hans Holzer. Okay, I think. Oh, I can't share the screen. Dang it. Uh, so I'm already sharing the screen on two different areas, so I can't share the screen. Uh, I wish I lived more in the 80s. Yeah, I think a lot of people felt that way. But what I found was this Hans Holzer was an American writer and a parapsychologist, meaning he was more of the ghost thing. And he wrote more than 120 books on supernatural and occult subjects for the popular market, as well as several plays, musical films, and documentaries, and hosted a television show, Ghost Hunter, not to be confused with Ghost Hunters, which came much later. Ghost Hunters is like Grant and somebody else. It's like I can't remember uh, what was that? Ghost Hunters. Oh yeah, with Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson. Yeah, that's right. It's on. What was the series on? The Discovery
it used
Channel.
to be on Sci-Fi.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm looking at Sci-Fi Channel, A&E, Discovery, Travel Channel. Yeah, they've been all over. Um, but yeah, he just talks about him being uh, writing the books and all this stuff. It says right here, Holzer believed in life after death and the existence of ghost spirits and stay behinds. Ghosts were, according to him, imprints left in the environment which could be picked up by sensitive people. Spirits were intelligent beings who could interact with the living, while staying behinds were those who found themselves earthbound after death. He also believed in reincarnation and the existence of levels of consciousness. Oh, yeah, 6 Countess Catherine Genevieve Buxhoveden. Oh wow, he was married to someone who was six says she was a sixth generation descendant of Russian Empress Catherine the Great. The marriage was eventually dissolved, which sucks, unfortunately. Um, oh, here we go. He actually investigated the Amityville horror ordeal. And it says Holzer's most famous. I know I can't show you because I'm sharing a screen already, so I can't really. Um, if I share your end, you won't see the Rumble Studio. If I share this end, I won't see you and hear you. So what I have to do with is, and oh yeah, most famous investigation was into the Amityville horror case in January 1977. Holzer and spiritual medium Ethel Myers entered 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. Myers claimed that the house had been built over an ancient Native American burial ground, and the angry spirits of I don't know. It's Shinnecock. It just makes me want to say Shincock is how it's how it looks to me. um, Indian chief Rolling Thunder had possessed the previous occupant Ronald DeFeo Jr., driving him to murder his family. Photographs taken at the scene revealed curious anomalies such as the halos which appeared in the supposed images of bullet marks made in the original 1974 murders. Holzer's claim that the house was built on the Indian sacred land was, however, denied by the local Amityville Historical Society, and it was pointed out that it was the Montaukett Indians and not the Shincocks who had been the original settlers in the area. Holzer went on to write several books about the subject, both fiction and nonfiction. So basically, he was wrong. It was another one. Yes, I can read. I just can't show on screen, unfortunately. But no, that's pretty interesting. You always use a vegetarian too. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, um, I also read a lot of that in my single digits. So
Mhm.
imagine that, if you will.
Oh, is his stuff?
Yeah, well, I found the since that was one of the books that I found in my late aunt's house. I found it when I was a kid, so
Mhm.
it probably was like 7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just interesting to kind of learn that stuff when you look somebody up because I never even heard about him. I've never heard of any of his stuff. I didn't even know he was involved in the Amityville horror thing. And to know he was an author and a parapsychologist, it's pretty interesting what you learn out there. Although I'm not too into the uh, what is it? I'm not too into the paranormal,
supernatural.
supernatural, paranormal. I mean, I watched the show Supernatural, but that's a different story altogether. Um, but yeah, no, that's pretty interesting about getting to know those kind of people because it's one of those things where it's sort of like what they call useless information, right? Like Paul McCartney's mom was a midwife, um, and all that stuff. Um, or what's another good one too? That's just one I have offhand, but there's stuff like that where people are, they just know these things and it seems pretty useless, but I think sometimes there's information where someone can recall and it's useful for the moment, or it's just something like you never knew before and it's like, oh, I learned something new today, stuff like that. But no, that's pretty amazing to know. So I mean, for the paranormal supernatural stuff, does that mean you've read more books beyond Holzer's thing or Holzer stuff, or just that?
I've read quite a few, a lot beyond his. When I was going to college in my city after I transferred from Morrisville,
Mhm.
which I didn't even realize was an actual place because they had an episode of Ghostbusters, the cartoon, that was there. So I thought, oh, it was just a place they made up. Surprise, surprise, it's an actual place. But after I transferred from college there,
Mhm.
I went to the local college, and my classes were scheduled in such a way that it was kind of inconvenient for me to uh, spend half the day traveling around town to get back and forth.
Yeah.
So I had a class in the morning and then I had a class later on in the evening.
Mhm.
So I would leave for my morning class and I would hang out in the library in the stacks and see what they have there.
Mhm.
So I found books that were um, cases from the Society for Psychical Research
Oh,
over in the UK and everything.
wow.
Just like a whole bunch of books I checked out there.
Uh,
And when I lived in Texas and
mhm.
I worked on the campus,
Mhm.
or I think it was originally when I visited the campus,
Okay.
I would go in their stacks and see what they had and read what was there too.
Wow. And that's pretty awesome because I mean, just reading on the supernatural stuff alone. But well, no, that's pretty awesome. And yeah, I when I was younger, I probably would be considered somewhat of a maybe avid reader, but I've not been a book reader for some time. It's just not been that ordeal. It's kind of hard nowadays to kind of sit down and just read a book when you got like stuff like Twitter X, or you got some game on your phone or whatever, or a whole bunch of other stuff, or doing stuff like this. Like I have a full-time job and I do this, and usually there's not much time in between, so it is what it is. But that's pretty awesome that you kind of continue on reading, because I know a lot of people kind of may not to, uh, but they also see it kind of like a passing phase, or something to that effect. Because it almost feels like many people, more and more people aren't reading books anymore, or reading less, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Some people are like, well, they'll download something to their tablet or whatever to read, but I prefer the paper.
Mhm.
So I prefer like the heft and print and all that other stuff. So I
Mhm.
have to have an actual physical book. I can't stare at a screen all day.
And Alaska Man Jeff says reading is for nerds. Wait, I'm reading chat. I'm a nerd. Yeah, nerd. No. But yeah, it's just I I just think that, oh well, and audiobooks too. Like you have a lot of things out there now where people can just listen to an audiobook, especially if they don't have time to read, right? Like you're at work or you're traveling or whatever. Usually people have a an audiobook going on. And I've done that. I've done an audiobook. So technically I haven't read, but I've listened to. It's sort of just reading, it's just listening to someone else read a book to you, but regardless, um, it's pretty interesting about that. But yeah, you have to download an app for that. Um, Sometimes you could probably do direct from, but it gets weirder with the technology, especially with your phone. Sometimes they have to force you to download an app, which is not always fun, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I just don't read as much anymore. At least I'll probably not as much as you do, which is okay. I'm okay. Um, but yeah, an avid reader, a toy collector, you got it all going on. But that's pretty awesome in itself because uh I'm pretty sure there are, obviously there are probably books on like the toy collection stuff, uh yearage and what it could cost and those things, because again that's another side of toy collection is they hold on to this item and they build it up over time and then they sell it. They may sell it, or they never get a chance and it gets tossed away, which can be sad. But if you hold on for things too long, they tend to end up being just dust collectors, which really isn't that great either. So,
Well, I personally don't have any dust collectors. Well, I didn't. What I had was actually um, one of those types where I didn't get to have all this, but I can do a little bit now
mhm,
so that I can get these things that I didn't get to have. But then I'm also not just getting it to have because I didn't have,
mhm,
but to share. So um, when I also collect Furbies.
oh my goodness.
So when I bought my first Furbies
Uh-huh.
and my nephews were growing up, they were toddlers and then they were like getting I think like 4 or 5 or something,
Mm,
and they would like to play with the Furbies. So they have different types of games that you could play with the Furbies, but usually if they were just sitting there and they weren't always deep sleep, they would come by and pick up a Furby, and the Furby would start talking, and they would love it.
mhm.
So they'd come by, and Furby's like just sitting there, and they'll pick up the Furby, and it'll go,
Yep.
ah.
Yep, I remember those. That's 90s right there. And Folsom says, I recently finished reading The Court Martial of Daniel Boone and The Lady of the Lake. Started State of Fear and also getting ready to start Blade and Bastard. I've never heard of that one. Lady of the Lake, I'm thinking Lady of the Lake is more of a King Arthur sort of thing, but again, it's been a long time since I sat down to read a book. Um, but uh, but yeah, oh my gosh, Furbies. I remember when you could just sit one from across each other and they would just start speaking to one another and it just would be very weird times. Like I pick up a furry. Oh, Furby.
I used to do that too. I would sit them across from each other
uh
and make them talk to each other. So it's just weird. It's like, ah, ah, da evla utai.
you do it
or
pretty.
yeah, it was like ah. So it's like, I also did. I wanted to make a video of the Furby dance party, so
Mhm.
um, I can't do that unfortunately. But um, they just have you sit the Furbies in a circle, or however many Furbies you have,
Mhm.
and then set them off, and then they'll all sync, and they'll start talking, and then they'll start doing a little dance. So
Yeah.
it's basically just the dance of them tipping themselves forward and back.
Goodness sake. That see, it's one of those. The Furbies back in the '90s was a huge craze in its own right. Almost everyone wanted a
Oh yeah,
Furby.
I still laugh at people that probably have like 100 or so in a closet somewhere in their house. You're not going to get rid of those for $100 each. Might as
No.
well just sell them off for five, because that's
Yeah.
what I got most of mine for.
Yeah. It's worse for Beanie Babies. You can't even get rid of. You have to pay somebody to take them. You have to pay somebody to take those things from you. Um, but yeah, the '90s was certainly the '80s and '90s were certainly an interesting time for toys and stuff, because you have a whole slew of like uh again, like you said, Care Bears, and then you had stuff like He-Man and um all those sorts of Transformers. Transformers was another one. I didn't want one of those demon fur babies or Furbies. Beanie Babies was where it was at. Yeah, I have a lot of different variations, a lot of different looks, and I I did buy one a long time ago. I don't have it anymore. But I bought like it was like a polar bear sort of Beanie Baby. And I don't remember what happened to it. It's probably long gone in the trash right now, so I'm not gonna I'm, I'm not gonna try to remember. But yeah, I remember at least having one. But now they're not uh, much of anything. And the Folsom says Lady of the Lake is a fifth book of the Witcher series, Blade Bastards light novel series by Kaguya, Goblin Slayer under the Wizardry banner. Okay, well I didn't read the Lady of the Lake. I remember listening to it, and the gentleman who was making the voices for all the characters within was pretty great. But I do believe there's actually a new book out for the Witcher series, but it's not. I don't think it's been translated yet. Um, but yeah, I've done the audiobooks on all of the Witcher series. I've not read anything from Goblin Slayer. Not really. Uh, I only have certain, and I don't read a light novel to be honest. So sorry about that, Folsom. But nice to see you again, good sir. Nice to see you again. But yeah, I liked the Witcher series. Obviously, the games. If you know what they are, the Witcher games are sort of a fictional continuation of after the last book, which is Lady of the Lake. There is another Witcher book after that. It's a prequel. It's called Season of Storms. Um, and then and like I said, I believe there's another one after that. Uh, if I can find out what it's called. No, I don't want the TV series. I'd just rather have the book series. No, not that. There we go. Okay. So of course, the last one was Seed of Storms, and then the one was out in 2024 is called Crossroads of Ravens. So that's the newest one. Um, but yeah, it hasn't been translated yet, which sucks. So, um, but yeah, Lady of the Lake, all of them. Yeah, I remember. And the Witcher itself has been around since like the early '90s. So there's that. But again, it's mostly just audiobooks for me. I've not read the books themselves because again, it's kind of one of those things where you're just like it gets hard to sit down and read a book. It's easier It's easier to sit down and scroll through Twitter X or play a game than it is to read a book. If The Witcher was in America, toss a coin to your drugged up homeless man. Well, he wasn't. He had the skills to pay the bills. It's just Witchers were looked down upon, unfortunately. I don't know if you've ever heard of the series for The Witcher. Um,
Yeah, but unfortunately, what I've heard was just the usual kind of thing that they do when they decide to make something and put it on a platform. Is you make all these changes.
oh, you're talking about the series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, to Henry Cavill's credit, he did try to do his best, but when they I think it was after the first season. The first season was a great setter, even though there were some things that were kind of off. It was a great setter, but once once season 2 came around, it pretty much changed the trajectory of where the show was going to go, and I just don't think they're going to last very long because Henry Cavill was Geralt. He fought for that. He fought for that part. And while I am, more biased towards the voice actor who voiced the game character of The Witcher, Doug Cockle, I appreciate what Henry Cavill was trying to do, but he was fighting against pretty much the writing staff and Lauren Hisrich, and that was not a battle he was going to win on his own, unfortunately. And certainly the author himself was not much of a help, but I think he might have sold the rights. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, homeless man, more like a homeless man with two swords. Homeless man with two swords. I don't really do light novels so much. This one because wizardry is connection to old school D&D, and the author created Goblin Slayer. I thought it was a good mix up. Oh, okay. Yeah, again, I would not read a light novel. It may be like 500 pages or less, but I'm more of a manga person and I like to see the pictures. Um, oh, sorry, that's not the right one. Homeless man attacks monsters, rats. Big giant rats, like super big giant rats. Some of them ugly. Uh, in Folsom says, "Oh, in High School of the Elite because the anime made me. It did not make you; it drew you in. It's two very different things. Anime didn't make you do anything. Netflix already canceled the wizard. Well, let's look that up. Did Netflix? I gotta spell this right. Netflix cancel the Witcher. It says The Witcher is not officially canceled by Netflix. A report claiming that the show was officially canceled by Netflix after multiple seasons was debunked, and it was clarified that the series is ending because season 5 will bring the show to the end of the main storyline from Andrew Sapkowski's Witcher book series. Netflix has confirmed that the saga will wrap up after season 5, marking the end of one of its most ambitious fantasy franchises. Additionally, the fifth and final season is already underway with an anticipated wrap up in early 2026. Yeah, it's more or less just like it needs once Henry Cavill left, it needed to go altogether. Yeah, they really after season 1 they really botched it. I do read his Goblin Slayer manga as well as Savella Sue. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Manga's fine just as long as it's not one of those first person stories. I don't know which ones you're reading, Alaska Man Jeff. I don't know which ones you're reading. But yeah, it's not officially canceled by Netflix. It's wrapping up next year. So we'll see about that. But yeah, they did kind of screw the pooch for the series on Netflix, and it's kind of hard to come back from that, especially when your main person who's playing Geralt respect for the series, respect for the characters and the story, and he's sort of just thrown off because he can't he keeps hitting up against the writers and stuff, wanting to make it as close to the books as possible. And it's rare to find someone who wants to do that. Because there was just to give an example, there was there's Sherlock Holmes the series, and there was television series back in the 80s called a I don't know if it was like a television group or something like that, but it's called the Granada, and they had
Oh yeah.
yeah, and they had created the series, the Sherlock Holmes series, and the main person, Jeremy Brett, was very wanting to make sure it stayed to the book because of how profound to or whatever. And it's not always easy, obviously, because in a book, words you just use to not only describe a scene, but the pacing and all that sort of stuff. But when you can take all those words and make them visual, it kind of takes a lot of time away. And so you kind of have to fill it with other stuff, which sucks in its own right too, but it is what it is. But there's another example of um but that one was more successful. The Granada series was more successful in trying to keep true to the books, whereas the Netflix series for The Witcher went off the deep end after a certain point, and it was like, no, nope. Um, but yeah, it sucks when that can't be the Harry Potter series is another one too. After after a certain point, it just went like all over the place, and you're just like, what the hell is this? I'm just sitting here like the movie 3, right? I went to go see all of them when they first came out in theaters because my mom, with my mom, because we were readers of the book as well. And when it came to The Prisoner of Azkaban, they changed up a lot of stuff. They changed up a lot of stuff, and it was just like, come on. And I was disappointed. It was, nope, nope. I was disappointed. And I've also and yes, Kiyotaka Aya Ayano Koji literally made me read the books. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he came to your house and strapped you down and said, "You read my book now." But no. But anyway, it is the top of the hour, and so what happens is I set aside some time for me and my guests to kind of promote ourselves. Uh, Maybe you'll like the remake instead. Look, hey, that's like 50 years from now. Okay, I'll be 50 years from now. But yes, I do set aside from time, some time for me and my guests to kind of promote our stuff. Now, I don't. I'm sure you'll most likely you don't create your own content per se, but if there's anything you like to promote or um, words of wisdom or whatever you'd like to say, the floor is yours.
Well, a long time back I did, but right now I don't really do much of anything except for maybe pop into um, topics on Twitter, whichever amuses me, and
Hmm,
drop smart comments now and then.
that's pretty
So,
awesome. Better to be
uh,
better to be surgical with that sort of stuff than be like block all over because yeah, the social media aspect can be very draining if you're not careful, and potholes abounding in this way. But no, but yeah, no, that was pretty awesome that you did, and again for the support of other content creators that you've enjoyed stuff. Um, but thank you for that. And from my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or the YouTube side, because I do stream to both, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, if you wouldn't mind, if you wouldn't, I'm just down, I'm just down here, guys. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like, a comment, share the content, anything that helps in the engagement factor is much appreciated because at the end of the day, not only does it help in being seen more by whole host of people, and let's be honest, a lot of content creators like to be seen more. It also helps in having other people on, like Venkman's Girl, or like Alaska Men Jeff, who I've had on a few times, or Tom B, or Brandon, or so many others. At the end of the day, I do this thing because I get to talk to people across the way, and I've had on over 200 various guests. So yeah, it's a lot, but I enjoy it all the same. So your help with the engagement factor on either Rumble or YouTube is most appreciated. Yeah. I see you. I see you. I see you trying to disappear. No, you don't. No, you don't. Um, but also, 1 second. Oh no, I don't want to copy a link. Here we go. But also, and I did put your link to your Twitter X if people want to find you. But um, also, I have a link down below. This will take you to it will take you to an area where my Twitter X is, my email is, my I have a link to Discord, but it's mostly just for DMing. I don't run servers, just because it's just too much bandwidth for me to deal with. But anyway, you can go there. You can find my places and stuff, and see where else I'm at. I appreciate you all being here. And of course, one more thing. Links. Yes, links. Call them links. Links, my precious. Um, all right. But one more thing before we continue on, and we'll continue on for a little bit more. Um, I know I've told people that I'm part of the Rumble creator program, but I'm also part of another uh, uh, program too. Uh, if people don't know, a while back there's a company called Proton, and they have things like Proton Mail, VPN, a whole bunch of stuff. And a while back they were promoting their ability for someone to get into their partner program. I was like, sure, why not? Let's give it a try. I don't think I'll even get in, but sure, why not? You take a shot in whatever and see what happens. And so um I sent in all the stuff, I applied for all the things, and I think it was like 24 to 40 hours later they said you're in, and I'm like, are you sure about that? Cuz I was like, I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I'm putting the and and this is the link too. But so I'm trying to do the best I can in my own way of promoting uh, this. Now this is a link to their Proton Mail product. I use it often. um, I'm not They have other stuff too, but I'm just focusing on the Proton Mail right now. So if you guys go click on that link and go to it, you'll see a whole bunch of different stuff, and they'll give you more info. But through the things I've picked out of why I use uh, Proton Mail is, one is because it allows you to use an alias email. So you've probably been to websites or whatever, or there's been some place you wanted to sign up for or whatnot, and you usually give your actual email address, your one you use. Well, with the alias email addressing, you can actually give a email address that uses and can direct those emails back to your actual email address. But if something happens that you just don't want to, if they send you spam or whatever, you can just delete that or turn it off, and you won't get anything from them anymore because they just have that email. They don't have your actual email. So it helps protect you in many ways for that. Another one is that they're very good about spam, spam scam stuff, because a lot of people out there today don't understand that many people and many billions of dollars are scammed every year from things like spam mail, from phone calls, from so many different avenues, and it is rough. Well, Proton Mail does a pretty good job of blocking those sort of spam mail or whatever. Uh, Maybe you'll may get a rarity of something coming through, but they'll usually either put it in your spam or it'll be labeled like, oh, this might be phishing or whatever. So there's another reason right there why I use it. The last reason I'm giving is that your inbox is your inbox. If you were to go to say like Gmail or iCloud or whatever, they would, or AOL, something like that, they would scan the inbox um, of like your stuff and do targeted ads and whatnot. And Proton doesn't do that. Your inbox is your inbox, and they don't have ads on it to because some free ones do. It's true, but with Proton you don't. And again, I promote this product because I believe in it and I use it. I'm like Billy Mays. I wouldn't promote a product I didn't use. So even if you just go and check it out and see what they're about and don't do anything else with that, that's fine. Like, yes, I do make a little something from it, but I mean, that's not the main goal of why I do this. I do it because I believe it has benefit, and I believe that a lot of people could use it and be helpful for them. So if you want to check it out, they do have a free account that you can make, or there are more items you can have on the paid version, but those are really, really cheap. And again, they have whole different other set of products as well. But for this one, I'm just focused on the Proton Mask. So give it a look, see what it's about. If it's worth it to you, great. If not, that's okay too. I just want to promote it because I know the benefit it has, and I'd rather pass that benefit on to you because it's not an easy place out there. So why not? But anyway, thank you for that. And of course, last man Jeff said, I'm going to make a Proton email and send their spam full of pictures of the food spam. Can't stand spam. Oh my goodness. It's a funny thing too with spam. Um, like the canned spam, it is a big popular dish in Hawaii. Like there's a restaurant in Hawaii where their some of their main dishes, their main majority of food item is spam, and it's mostly due to the World War II and all that stuff. But it's just interesting to kind of find that there's a places in Hawaii where spam is sort of like the delicacy, if that makes sense. um, but yeah, I've never had spam. I'm not sure if I want to. It's in a can. Once you try to get it out of the can, it sounds like a, and I'm just like, no, nope, not today. You're not having me today. Um, but yeah, I don't know about that. But yes, Popular in Alaska too, but it's poison, burn, spam. Wow, I didn't know. People. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense because in Alaska it gets cold and all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't know it was popular in Alaska. But yeah, I wouldn't eat it. I even if you paid me $10,000, like you can keep the money. All right, I ain't touching it. But yes, Alaska man Jeff himself is from Alaska, and I got to have him on a few times, and he's actually doing his own creative work by creating things like family friendly cartoons and whatnot. He's a very he's a very big anti AI proponent, which is understandable. But he's a really great guy all around, and he's very talented in what he does. So he's always creating in his own way. He's very nice too. He's a very oh, how would you describe him? He's a very formal man. He's a very formal man. He's polite. Here's 10,000 point one. Eat the spam. No, 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 no. I want to see that in Rumble Rants if that's gonna be the case. I want to see that in Rumble Rants if that's gonna be the case, Alaska Man Jeff, because I ain't buying that. I know that's a lot right there. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. Um, but yeah, no, it's a funny thing too. Is like I've talked to people from oh yeah, give the side eye from the vice president. But it's funny because doing this conversational show that I do, I've talked to people from like um again Alaska. I've talked to people from I've talked to a person from Norway. I've talked to a few from Australia, about 15 hours ahead of my time. So that's always fun. Let's see, who else? I've talked to people from Texas, from all the United States. I've talked to people in Canada. I've talked to some people from Canada, if you can believe it. The UK, Germany. I've talked to people from Germany. It's crazy all around. In getting to do this because there's so much potential in getting to talk to people all over, even if it's in your own neighborhood. That too. But yeah, I've enjoyed getting to do it because I just didn't really see anyone else do it, so why not? Um, yeah, I'm gonna next towards the end of the show. I'm gonna see is spam. Just burn the spam, eat the spam. Oh man, but yeah, if you're a toy collector, avid book reader, cheerleader, you're a lot of different things. But that's pretty awesome. And just all that spam. No, 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 no. You don't do it. Oh, is it not showing up on screen? Oh no. Hold on, did I? Yeah, no, don't you do it. I saw that. I saw that. Better hold off on that horse there, good sir. He's gonna spam my chat with spam. That's not a good way to be looked on. Oh my goodness. Um. Uh
Well,
oh.
I
Uh oh. Someone's in trouble. Oh.
oh yeah.
Did you? I think I saw you making a poster, but did you get hit by the storms?
No, we just had a lot of rain earlier. It was quite a downpour, and then it eased off.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they had a warning come through anyway for flash flooding. So there's parts of the city that does kind of go a little bit low, but then I'm not even sure, because I'm actually kind of in a um, area where it's kind of between two hills, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still a hill anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably a few hundred blocks away from the lake as it is.
Ooh.
And if the lake is going to come this way, it has an uphill journey. So I'm not worried about the lake anytime soon. But there's areas of the city that does kind of do a little dip. The end of
Mhm.
my street does this little dip. Very fun to ride down if you're on a bike.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't get as much. It doesn't get a whole lot of water. But then I think it was last year we had a lot of rain. We had a few storms, and
Mhm.
someone actually ended up getting their car stuck under one of the underpasses trying to get through it
What?
because there was an accumulation under it, and that particular underpass went from um, went from uphill to downhill, so it had a slope,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of the street went up slightly and then evened out.
Mm-hmm.
So my city has flat areas and hills and uh, inclines and declines and stuff like that.
Wow.
Um, so they had it on the news where they had the car just sitting there and all this water and the doors are open.
Oh.
And wow, I hope they had some really good insurance. I don't know why they would go under there in the first place, but
Yeah.
okay.
They were, you know what? They were trying to see if their car could really float. That's what they were. Look, guys, I got it right. If I just have enough duct tape and I cover enough of the ports, no water's gonna leak in. You know that sounds a little dumb. We gotta try it. We gotta try it. Didn't work.
Well, I was in the car with a genius that decided that the 6 foot high watermark
Yeah.
for the marker that was um not quite over the dip in the street was perfectly fine, and to go around the barricade so he could cross the road.
Oh man.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of a bad idea because I actually walked down that way,
Yeah.
and that high watermark sign is taller than I am. I think it ends like 6'5" or something like that.
Yeah.
So I could stand by the thing, and there's still like an extra foot or two on it, and it's stuck in the road. Well,
Mhm.
not the road, but the sidewalk. Well, there's no sidewalk, but the grass.
Yeah.
And that's the high water mark, just slightly over a dip.
Wow.
So he rides up to like the low point. So the water is going up to, I'd say, the bottom part of the tire. Then it starts getting up to the running board. And I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
you should just turn around right now. I don't think this car is going to go, it's not going to make it. And it's a bad idea.
Yep.
So he ended up having to turn around, and just go back around the barricade and come back the other way and hit the
Yeah.
main road. But it was just really stupid in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's ugh. That's just yeah. That's just dumb. It's if you don't know, why try, right? Like if it's a flooded road, don't try to be some person saying I can get through it. Just just turn around and go back the other way. It may
Especially if there's a dip in the road, because
y-
we were just coming down the high point,
mm,
to the dip, and it was going up to the running board. And I was like, I'm gonna hop out this car and leave you to your fate.
I can't swim. Help! Oh, well, you shouldn't have done it. And Alaska Man Jeff says duct tape works. Some Alaskans have used it to fix their small airplane. It worked, but wouldn't advise it. That's not a good sign. That's not a sign I want to fly in the airplane. I can get through it with duct tape. Oh goodness, you probably could too. Actually, it's a funny thing. There's a I don't know if you've heard of it, but like that flex stuff where you just spray
Oh
it
yeah,
on.
Flex Seal.
Yeah, Flexi. I remember he took like a screen door in the bottom of a canoe and just sprayed that screen door with the flex stuff, and he was floating above the water. I'm like, hold on a second. Which way does the door open though? Just, I get the point you're trying to prove, but if you open that door, it's game over. And they would have had to. I mean, on the other end too, they would have had to do. Uh, they would have to put Flex Seal around the door open areas because water could leak in through those areas too. So you have not only the screen door, but you also have that edge where the door meets the boat. It's crazy. I cut this boat in half. Oh goodness sake! I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. But yeah, at a certain point, if there aren't people out in canoes trying to get to the home, then at least you know it's not that bad. When there are people out in their canoes trying to get home, then you might have an issue. But I hope everything at least goes well because it seems like because it came up here too. It seemed like it came and went. It's not even raining anymore, which is kind of surprising. I thought it would rain more, but to my lame surprise, it didn't. I was like, more rain. But I'm just me. But anyway, we're gonna start slowly heading off because I'm gonna start getting tomorrow's stream set up, and then of course I want to go to try to get to bed a little early tonight. I've been staying up way too late. My fault, but I do have a job in the morning, so it's 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 always responsibilities. Responsibilities this, responsibilities that. But my other responsibility allows me to do this fun thing. So, gotta do the things I gotta do. But anyway, but before we go though, we're gonna do a few things. We already did the promoting of stuff, so guys, remember the links down below, all that in the description, either on Rumble or YouTube. Again, and of course tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm gonna have on a gentleman I've had on before. His name is Freedom Otter, or at least that's his username, and I've had him on before. His PFP is of an otter, obviously, but the gentleman's he. I've had him on before. He does like talk about a bit of the politics and stuff like that. I believe he's 2A, very 2A person. But I'm glad to get to have him on again because he's gone through it's been a long time. So getting to catch up with him on stuff and all that will be great. So hope you'll all be able to stop and come by for that. And of course, the last thing I do with my guest is one of the fun things. It's called Questions from a Hat. Right, so I bought a hat from Rumble, right, and I put a bunch of questions in it. Now I will say that the record holder of most questions asked is Goon Gaming. He got 30 questions total, and I'm counting the 2 you get for free. And so that was interesting. That was supplied by one person. So I don't know if we'll ever see that again. But regardless, you, my guest, get 2 freebie questions from the hat. Plain and simple. However, if people would like to see more than the 2 questions pulled out of the hat, then they have to give a Rumble rant for it. I'm not monetizing YouTube. Very far from it even happening, but we'll see. But on Rumble, I'm instantly monetized, and so if people want to give, 30 rigged. It wasn't rigged. I was there the whole night. Neurodivergent is a backup for me. All right. I know who gave all that money for one person. I'm like, All right, if this is what you want to do. But yeah. So if you want more than the 2 freebies asked, you have to give a rumble ring. It doesn't matter the amount. Don't care. I've had people spam the dollar ones to me before. So we're gonna start with the first question, obviously. All right, let's see what you get. My eyes are closed and I'm just feeling with my hands. I'm like a blind man, just trying to feel with my hands. All right, here I got one. The blue one right here. This one is oh, here we go. What's a simple pleasure from your childhood that still holds up today?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Um, I'm I'm gonna say play, like playing with toys. I mean,
Uh,
you're never too old.
That's true. That's true. Although it does change what play is, because usually, again, you have collectors, people who put it away, or they play different things. But yeah, play can be a powerful thing, and I think when you grow up to be an adult, you kind of lose a bit of that. Plus wonderment. Wonderment is another thing I think people lose. But at the end of the day, I think that it's not about being childish or childlike, but it's just about remembering to enjoy the simple things in life, because some people don't, and they end up not being able to anymore, and that's the sad fate of it. But regardless, uh, that's a pretty good answer. So let's get on to question number 2, unless someone gives a rumble rant. Here's question number 2. Let's see what it says. Do that posting note. Okay, here we go. What's your favorite day of the week?
Oh my goodness, I don't think I really have one.
Not even like one day over another, like a Monday. You like Monday more than Friday or something like that.
No, not really. When I was a kid, I would have to say Saturday because that's when all the cartoons came on and everything.
Yeah.
But since they've taken all the cartoons off TV, there's not really much to do on Saturday
No.
aside from grown up stuff and maybe um do some online stuff or read book or something.
Here you go. Yeah, I remember when. I remember. I don't remember the date or whatever, but I remember when they just stopped showing cartoons altogether. Because after on a Saturday, for those who don't know, like ABC or whatever, once they were done with the cartoons, it instantly went into football or some other sport, and it's like, oh great, football! Wow, turn it off. Um, but yeah, long as it been, but animation itself is not a cheap ordeal, and it's yeah, it's not a fun thing. But
Uh,
always nice to remember those old cartoons and whatnot. Even if they're not much of anything very much anymore. Now there's independent, sure, but again the costs and the time still remain the same, more or less. So there's that. But no, that's pretty awesome. But again, like I said, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern with Freedom Otter. Hopefully, we'll get to all see that. I do want to thank all those who came in chat, whether it be on the Rumble side or YouTube side. I appreciate you all. And of course, thank you, Venkman's girl, for coming on. It's been an awesome getting to talk to you and chat you about whatever. So, yeah, you're always welcome to come back if you wish. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
it's no problem. And if you ever have dug around in the internet archive, you might maybe stumble either upon some of the older videos. You probably have to look for them by title because they're all from before I got nuked, or
Wow.
even my website. Because I think I actually have a couple that are maybe still floating out there on their host.
Hmm.
You never know because of so many companies that just kind of disappeared.
Yeah. They either that or they get bought out and absorbed and all that stuff is yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. And Alaska Man Jeff says on the Saturday morning cartoons, the poor animators, it's not personal. Yeah, yeah. Uh, but some of them it was a labor of love, so there was that. But it's not a cheap thing to do. Usually for most of the animations, most of it was sent off to like Korea or the Philippines or whatever to get it done, and they would get cheap pay out of that, or have to, or pay cheaply to get it done. So yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. But anyway, so what's going to happen is that at the end of every show I do, I end the stream with another music video called "One Day with You" by Pogo. And again, guys, don't forget, links are down below. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern with Freedom Otter, and um, and also just thank you all around for all this, because I do enjoy, again, getting to talk to a whole host of different people, returning or new, because I do try to bring back people I've had on before. So there's that. But anyway, One Day with You by Pogo. Have a great rest of your night, everyone, and I will see you then. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.